things that are really unique about this program. Kids can actually use it at home.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that we really like about it is that there are students that aren't math oriented, and it's, you know, in a regular class, it's all one pace, and either you get it or you don't, but everybody moves on.
Right.
This allows them to, like you said, go at their own pace with the expectation that they will finish.
Right, and I mean, we can tell, you know, again, because of that one window, oh, so-and-so has taken one test in a day, something's going on there. We do a little intervention and say, hey, what's going on? Are you not understanding this? Are you just not having a good day? And kind of go from there. But I do think the self-pacing part is fantastic. Kids don't feel rushed. They can kind of get it. They can do their own notes. They can get more explanation. I think what we're trying to work on at Calabasas is determining which kids might fit into a 3-semester I Can Learn versus just you know, a year-long I Can Learn. So that's kind of what we're working with. I don't know if Russell's kind of taken care of that at Agora. I am assuming that for the most part, because you had mentioned geometry, and that's something we're looking into as well, is doing a semester of geometry or a year, depending on the student. So it does seem to, you know, again, I would say 95% of the kids are responding well to it. So,
how do you integrate the parent portion of this? So how do you let the parents know where the student stands?
That is what we're finding difficult, because I know I use Aries, and I've had parents contact me and say, well, what does my son have? Ours is a little difficult only because if I have students on my caseload, we send informal progress reports home. So that's something we're working on to kind of get it. How are we, I mean, really the easiest thing we can do is take this section, which has every student in every grade, and then input that into Aries. That's really the only way I've come across that we can do, and we're doing that now.
So one of the things I want to stop, I'm okay here, is normally you would have all these kids, and as they go across the board, those are their scores, and obviously this isn't one of our classes, this is a test class. So they come over here, and like as a teacher, how do you really monitor where kids are, right? That just sounds kind of like rhetorical, that'd be perfect. But this actually tells you, and when you click on a box, and which she had already done, which I wanted to show you, that was the test we took. The date comes up, the time, okay? It tells the date and the time that they took that. So I had a sub one day, I had to go, and I know a couple of kids didn't do nothing. And you're talking about parents? So you know how they tell, well, blah, 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 blah. And I went in and I went through all my kids and went down and found out the kids that this tells you how much time they've spent on the computer. They didn't even push the button where the sub was there. And I made the phone call to the parents. The thing is, you have to take this, Jason, this is where I screwed that up yesterday, but it took me about 30 minutes to do my 3 classes. I have to take the data off of this screen. I just print it, and then I go and then I enter it into Aries. So my kids' grades are current. So the parents are involved. The home access, that is something, 2 of our classes, we just handed out the flyers to the kids. They left, I picked up 18 of them. Okay? What I did is I didn't offer it to all of my kids, but when as my kids I felt were in danger of falling behind the pace of the class, then I would call them. Every one of them, I have 7 or 9 kids now doing it. I called the parent to let them know this is what we need. Can you help them access it at home? And we give them the worksheet, and I haven't heard back, and the kids have caught up all but one. And it's a pretty good tool. It is. So there was so much other stuff I wanted to talk about. You know, you covered it. I mean, you really did. All that stuff we talked about, knowing what a kid knows. When I click on, if they get a 75, I'm going to click on that and find out what they missed. And that's all I'm going to help them with. I'm going to turn them back loose and go. You know, they may have only missed 2. I have kids going, Mr. Steffens, I got an 80. I can do better. Do you have kids would do that? Not 3-semester kids. You're not going to have that. I have kids that Dr. Zimmering came in and he was asking random kids, get your teacher, I in control of him, you can say whatever you want here. I don't feel stupid anymore. I feel like I can pass math. You know, how many times you have kids coming in and say, hey, Steffens, I got 80, I got 90 on that, I got 100, you know. This is stuff that goes. And another thing that's great about this screen, you can clear this one off. The other thing that's great about this screen is you see it in real time. So, can you really tell the color there? If it's a green box, it means they're on that. And as soon as they take a quiz, if I'm watching this grid and I get it centered, a number will pop up inside the green box, and that means I know. Ned, nice job, you just got a 90. At first they freak out, how'd you know? Hey, you got an what? And you know, but it's cool things like that that you can that you can do. The other thing that's not on here, well, there is a blue one here. Any score when you're looking at this grid and it's 1,000 numbers, any score that's in black, they either passed the pretest 100%, or they took the quiz and passed it one time. If it's blue, it took them 2 or 3. If it's red, it took them more than 3 times. So it's 4 or more. And those are the kind of kids that you got to really focus on, and the intervention comes in. There's many of those. I don't want to get into all of those. That's not what this is. Anything else that you want to do? I love this. This thing is, from as far as I'm concerned, the Bible thing. And for getting tutors on, the alert screen, I didn't use it last year, kicking myself. If I had a good knee, I'd kick myself. But now this year, it's perfect competition on tutors. They're working. It's good. It's all a good thing. So any other comments? We can go. I said 8:30, 5 ahead. Pardon me? Oh, whoops. Okay, we talked about not having data, and I want to show this to you. Last year, what we did is bring this in because you have to convince your principal, you have to convince people that this works. So what happened, if you look up here, is we had a teacher teaching traditional 1A, and then I'm teacher B, I Can Learn. She made hard copy tests, so we didn't do chapter tests on I Can Learn last year. We did it on paper. And we awarded partial credit. She actually graded my kids' class. The thing that she was amazed at was that she gave her test on one day. Boom, boom, and mine are piecemeal. I'm handing her 5 and 6 one day, 8 the next day, blah, blah, blah. And you found out that her class scored a 79, the I Can Learn kids an 86, then a 74 and 81. You can see that. So we did the first 4 tests, although chapter 3 was long, so we split it into 2. After that, I saw what I was convinced what was going to continue to happen. I switched over because I wanted to see what the tests would do I Can Learn. So now look this year. We have 4 classes in there. We got an 89, an 88, a 90, and 90. What do you think happened there? Look at the grades before. These are even higher than last year's. I made the damn test too easy is what I did. And so we got these 80s and 90s, and we've since adjusted that. But that's the beautiful thing about that. We have all the teachers taking the same test, all those benchmark tests. We're all taking the same chapter test. We're all doing that. So you can throw the data out there. And then we finished 2. 3's not in yet. We're having problems. We're having issues. But we get down, and then we take the fall final exam. The department average was 65. My class was 75, the I Can Learn class. I can't even, I'm too close, I can't see that now. And then second semester was even greater. The second semester was even, second semester significantly harder. And the 65% was astonishing to me. I did not anticipate that. I have no idea. So I'm hoping that it's real data and wasn't an aberration. I just hope that it was something that's rock solid that gives us. And now this year we're doing the same thing. We're going to collect the data. We're going to be able to show all 4 of these classes. We take the final exam. We're going to be able to compare that with 4 of the classes and keep going and keep going. One thing I'd like to ask anybody, a lot of teachers out here, is there any other thing you can think of data that you think might be necessary here to do to show that the program is success data-wise, test scores? Curriculum. Basically, it's based on the curriculum. You go through. I can adjust. You just select. It's a test generator, so it's like I'm not making the problems up, but it's like the test. It's generated, but you pick difficulty level, distribution. These are 3-semester kids. So we try to go along. At the same rate. I will tell you that the lessons, though, and I think one of the reasons the I Can Learn kids, I haven't publicized this yet, but the lessons are Algebra 1. They're not based on 3 semester. They're based on 2. So the level of instruction they're getting off the video is based on Algebra 1. Not honors, not below, nothing, just straight facts. We haven't lowered that standard. And maybe that's what's helping that. I don't know. You know what? You guys are a lot smarter than I am. I'm just going to do the work. Yeah?
Just to clarify, the final exams were the same for all students, right?
Yeah, the only tests we could compare, like Jason said, were the final exams. They will this year too, they will take the school's final exam, the paper copy, and that's something so we can check data on that. So that's what I'm really looking forward to comparing last year it was 4 traditional and 1 I Can Learn. This year it's all I Can Learn, so we're going to compare them to the 4 traditional. Bigger sample space, it's going to give us more accurate rather than just 2 classes. And you know, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. We'll keep filling in the chart and we'll just keep going. And you know, ultimately it's a 2-year process because 3-semester kids don't take the STAR test till after, you know, they've taken completed algebra. So they won't take it this year. We have to wait a year. And hopefully we don't screw them up in traditional classes. Just kidding. I also teach traditional classes and I like them. So it's all good. That was a joke. Did you get that, Ned? That was a joke. Okay. All right. Mr. Mizell, did you get that? That was a joke. Okay. Anything else? Anybody have anything else? Brent, did you miss something? You want to throw it out there?
One of the, I'll turn this back on so I can go on video. One of the things that we just did was do a midterm. So we took the 10-week midterm. It was the same midterm as actually my gen ed teacher's neighbor, because they collaborate quite a bit. So same midterm, paper midterm, and we'll see how our students do. One thing I can say with reference to being the special ed teacher and needing to adjust scores, this program allows me to, based on accommodations, if a student, you know, we tend to have students who score poorly depending on their disability. And so we can adjust that and then we can increase it. So if a student's only getting 50s, okay, we can set it at 50 and then we can bump it up to 55 to 60, kind of scaffold it, if you will. And so that way they're feeling more and more successful. It might take them longer, but again, they're not feeling that, I guess, that pressure, or they're not feeling as though all eyes are on them. They know their thing. And for the most part, I don't tell them. We just kind of, again, when we look at the data from that one page, okay, you know, Johnny seems to be getting 50s all the time. Let's drop it to 45 is the passing. Great, you know, and then kind of bump it up once we see that those grades start to go up. I would think that's, and that kind of is a, you know, two in the hand kind of thing. I can adjust it based on their accommodations and kind of make them feel more successful as they get higher and higher. That's about it.
Thank you.
All right, that is our program for this evening. I want to thank everybody for coming and our television audience to be for watching. I know we are planning